Okay, quick little intro. I messed up Schroder's name for the entire video. I apologize. I typically watch NBA games on mute, so these type of things sometimes get past me. My bad. The Atlanta Hawks are hoping that Dennis Schroder can be their leader of the rebuild. Whether he actually is, and whether I actually pronounce his name correctly throughout this video, who knows. But, all those veterans who were winning 60 games for them one year, they're all gone, and they're replaced with, just like I mentioned, a whole bunch of young guys. And I'm going to talk about here, is Schroder really a young star in the making, or do I think he has a ways to go to the point where I don't know if he can really be the type of guy who can lead a team? Let's talk about him. And I want to talk about the positives first. I think the one skill he has that's really above average is his ability to hit from mid-range. The dude shoots like 46% from there while taking, I would say, around 2 or 3 of those a game. Sure, it might not be the ability that everyone wants your point guard to have nowadays, but I still think it's pretty effective, especially when it comes to like pull-up, pick-and-roll, mid-range type of things. I mean, how many big guys go under the screen on John Wall, and then him just being okay for mid-range has helped his game out a lot. We see Chris Paul, another guy who's great for mid-range at the point guard position. So I think that's a good ability to have, and hopefully he can just build on that, being, 23 years old, I believe he is. And I will also say, I think Schroeder's okay at making the obvious pass. 6 assists a game is cool. I am going to be diving into why I think it's going to be a struggle with his playmaking overall. But at least he's shown that if he beats a guy off of a dribble and there's an open teammate, he can probably hit him with a pass. And that's okay enough given his age to where there's room for improvement on that sort of thing. But now we can talk about the turnovers. He averages over 3 turnovers a game. And again, he only averages 6 assists. I mean, so Schroeder is just going to have to be flat out better at making the right decision, reading the defense. Because if you have a guy whose assist to turnover ratio is just not that good, your chances of having an effective offense are just not very high. Also, Schroeder is not good when it comes to scoring in the paint. He shoots about 53% at the rim and 35% in the paint. Neither one of these are good whether you're a point guard or a center. So there's a question of how effective of an offensive player can he really be? I mean, if he's missing shots and not finishing well at the rim, not threatening a defense like that, and also not getting to the free throw line that often because he doesn't draw a lot of contact either, he only shoots around 3 free throws a game, then once again, I don't think you can really be a leader of a team with that sort of a thing. But of course, the guy has time to improve, but he's going to have to improve or else he just can't be the top dude leading a rebuild that Atlanta has going on right now. His three-point shooting also needs work as well. He shot 34%. That's flat out not good enough. And that's a problem. I mean, if you are not effective at finishing at the rim and you're not going to threaten teams from outside, and you're also going to average 3 turnovers a game, then I'm sorry, but you're just not good enough to be the leader of a team. So hopefully Schroeder can just correct these things. I do fear that there's just so many things he's going to have to improve on that it's just going to be too damn difficult. But I could see the three-pointer improving. I mean, if he's already very good from mid-range and he's not awful from 3, he's just a little under league average, I do think there's an avenue for his three-pointer to become a threat. It's just, can he correct all of the other things as well? I don't know. That's a question, but either he's going to have to get great at finishing at the rim and getting to the free throw line, or he's going to have to become awesome from 3. Whichever one it is, I don't really care, as long as one of them happens. Now I want to talk about his defense. He's kind of an interesting player for me defensively. I actually think one-on-one against opposing NBA point guards, he can actually be pretty okay. The problem is, even if he's shown a willingness to play defense, there was one time when he was picking up John Wall at full court during their playoff series. He's just really thin. really thin, not very big, so teams are always going to be able to attack him and get him in switches, and they can set a screen on him. And I mean, he's a pretty nimble dude, so I think he can get around some screens, but his strength is probably never going to be an asset for him defensively, and as a result, I don't know if he can ever do more than just defend point guards. And like I mentioned, I think he can actually be pretty decent defending NBA point guards one-on-one, but once you ask him to do other stuff and he has to use his physical tools, which he's not very strong and not very big, he's going to have a problem. How are his teammates looking moving forward? I really like the Dwayne Dedmon signing. Dedmon, to me, is still one of the more underrated players in the NBA. He's going to be playing a lot of minutes for the Atlanta Hawks. Mike Budenholzer will find ways of getting Dedmon rolling to the rim where Schroder can hopefully hit him for some passes. Marco Bellinelli, if anything, is just going to spread the floor. Hopefully his three-point shooting maintains itself. Taurean Prince is interesting. He seems like a decent athlete who might have some life as a defensive player. Who knows how far his offensive game is going to go. I think when he's gotten more minutes, he has looked pretty good. We're just going to have to see where he can go moving forward. And there's also John Collins, who is an athletic freak who was dunking over everybody in Summer League. I don't know if he starts day one, but I do think between him and Dwayne Dedmon, you could see Schroder getting a lot of alley-oops to his big guys. I do think Atlanta has a promising young crop of talent here. Is Schroder the guy, though? I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not loving the idea of where Schroder is right now to get to a point where I can trust him like being the leader of my team, leader of a rebuild sort of deal. He just has a lot of areas to get better on. Three-point shooting, finishing at the rim, and the playmaking. I mean, he's going to have to make some decent strides, and I don't think he can't do it because he is 23 years old. I could see him correcting a couple of these things. All of them might be too much to ask for. We're just going to have to see where his career takes him.